Hi, and welcome to Mid-American Gardener. Thank you for joining us. We are here to talk about plants and insects and all kinds of fun things in the garden, so keep listening. It's going to be fun. I'm Diane Nolan, and I teach horticulture at the University of Illinois, but not in the summer, so that's always fun. And I like perennials and cut flowers, but we're going to find out who the three intelligent, fun-loving, educational, entertaining people are here today. No pressure for you three. And let's start first with you, Dyke Barkley.
All right, thank you. Yeah, my name's Dyke Barkley, and I own Barkley Farms Nurseries down in Paris. I'm also the horticulture instructor over at Lakeland College, kind of specialize in perennials and ornamental grasses. I've actually got a question emailed in here about service berries or amelanchier trees, and they say it looks a little sick. It's recently planted. It did go ahead and start to grow berries. But the leaves are turning a little yellow and red, and you want to know what's going on. And basically, amelanchier is one of my favorite trees to use. That red and yellow to me is stress. If you want to picture it, the fall color showing up way early. There's no spots, there's no tears, so we're going to eliminate disease or insect. It's stressed out. And if I would say newly planted, it's going to be watering one extreme or the other, either too dry or too wet. And the question is, which is it? You would have to feel. This question is a little bit dated here, so it could be when things were really wet or it got overwatered. The best thing you do, stick your fingers in the ground and feel the soil. Is it wet? Is it dry? Because the stress for both is going to look the same on the plant. But that little bit from that picture, that plant will actually should outgrow that and kick in gear. So it's an extreme on watering either way, but a delayed here. Just keep checking it because I don't want to tell you to do one or the other because things have changed drastically since then. So,
but they need to learn to check it for moisture anyway.
Yeah, I get asked a lot, how much water do I add? And stick your fingers under the mulch and that'll tell you what you need to do on a newly planted plant.
And it's supposed to be an inch a week, but whether that works out or not, but learn to check it outside and also inside houseplants too. So love amelanchier. Okay, thank you, Dyke. Now let's go next to Marianne Metz.
Hi everybody, I'm Marianne Metz and I am a horticulturalist and landscape designer and working at Prairie Gardens. And I this evening have a show and tell, and it is hosta leaves. I recently attended the American Hosta Society National Convention, was struck by the huge variation in hosta in landscapes, and I just wanted to share some of those with you. And I didn't have any really big leaves to bring, but I brought some of the bigger-ish ones, but the variation in color and texture is so dramatic in blues and yellows and textures. There we are. These are some of the bigger hosta bigger leafed hostas. They'll cover a lot of ground. One plant, something like this, one plant could easily cover 4 or 5 feet in width, be anywhere from a foot to 2 feet, maybe even 3 feet tall. But just look at the variations in colors and patterns, one way or the other. And blue cupping. Look at how that is just fabulous. Well, and yeah. Ruffled edges. I am so into this. I think this is just a beautiful texture to put in your garden. But I really love the smaller leafed ones also. And these have added just so much color. Nice, cute little plants. Lots of variation in texture, ruffled leaves and white and yellow and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I think these are great landscape plants, and I think that people think, oh yeah, they're just hosta, but I think they're just a fabulous landscaping tool.
That biggest blue one, how does it compare to the size of your hand? Well, the other one is bigger. I mean, the one underneath it.
My hand fits into it and has some room to go. This isn't even close.
And that's a smaller leaf than
this
some.
Is not even close to the biggest blue available in the market.
Those are nice, and there's not really much of any nicks or bites or.
Not too. I did have a little bit of hail, so you can see some of the hail damage I've had, but
that's not bad.
Too much.
Not bad. Very good. Thank you, Mary Ann. Okay, Phil Nixon is next to me. Dr. Phil Nixon, take it away.
I'm Phil Nixon. I'm a retired extension entomologist with the University of Illinois, so I can handle insect questions. I do bugs. And today I have a email from Liz who writes in that last year I had bagworms on my big blue spruce tree, which I sprayed and picked off all the bags I could reach. Now I noticed some up high that I didn't get. Will those hatch in the spring? Yes, they will. And what measures do I need to take now? Well, this is in mid-June is when in an area of central Illinois those bagworms will hatch, and they will blow around for a while and then settle down into and be little 1/4 inch long bagworms or so after about 2 weeks, and that's when you need to treat for them. You can pick them off by hand if your bush or shrub is relatively short, but if you have a tree, probably spraying is best with Bacillus thuringiensis kerstaki. So does Dipel or Thuricide or various other brand names. There are other insecticides that will work well. The BTK is particularly useful because it's not particularly toxic to other insects or other critters. But what you need to do is once hatch occurs, you need to wait for about 2 weeks because they'll spin out silk, blow around, and we call that ballooning. And when they settle down finally to feed, then one application will do the job and protect your trees.
So in some areas south, they may have already done that.
Yes, at the level of southern Illinois, this would be mid-June would be the time to treat, and at the level of northern Illinois across the Midwest, you'd be looking at probably about the 10th or so of July before you would want to treat. So it just depends on where you're located and that sort of thing. It has a lot to do with whether when you need to treat for it, and you can observe your trees and watch for them. And when they start doing a little bit of scarifying damage, they'll scrape the outside of a leaf off, and it'll turn a little different color, and then it'll start to turn brown. And you can see the little bagworms with their little cases that will that'll tell you when you need to treat. But you don't want to jump a gun because you'll end up having to treat again.
Yeah, with their little faces. Okay, boy, that really personalized it. Thank you, Phil. Well, we're going to go to the phone lines, and we're going to start with Dana's question on line 2, and it's about hosta. Hi, Dana.
Hi.
What is your question?
My question is, can I have a hosta as a house plant?
Okay, Marianne and Dyke, any of you?
My experience with that, I actually knew a researcher who tried this. Pardon me. He got 18 months out of it, and that was it. So I think you can have it inside maybe a couple weeks and enjoy it. But as a house plant, I think not. They just like to go through the natural cycles outdoors.
The only way would be if it gets dormant. I mean, it'd be hard. It'd have to almost go in the ground and then come back. But then you've already had it planted.
But I think a lot of times your house is even darker than the outside in the
Oh,
shade.
absolutely.
So I think they just don't do well because there isn't enough light. I mean, if you put it in really bright, I don't know. I couldn't see having a very good luck with it.
Well, I think this researcher that I know actually did control.
Okay.
And it still only lasted 18
And it
months.
didn't.
Gotcha.
So
Oh, wow.
it's very difficult. I think some things just aren't meant to be indoors.
Okay. Well, that's a good question. Thank you. I think that's the first time anyone's asked that question. Thank you very much for that. Let's go to line 3 next, and Katie has a question about a birch. Hi, Katie.
Hi. This question is about my friend's birch.
Okay.
Birch it's been around for about 5 or 6 years, I know, probably more. But when I visited her today, she pointed out that the leaves are turning yellow and dropping. And I wondered what was happening to it. So I'm hopeful that someone can help me to identify the problem and tell us what to do to fix it.
Well, I have a theory. What
Well,
do
usually
you?
with birch trees, my first guess is going to be that they put out a lot of leaves with that early spring moisture. And birch trees will tolerate dry areas and wet areas, but they put out a lot more leaves than they can support when it gets really dry. And a lot of areas around here got really hot and dry, kind of all of a sudden quick. And even in my yard, there's a lot of birch trees, particularly when that wind blew, a lot of the bigger, older leaves. Yeah. So they just couldn't support as many. And if you notice, it'll be the older leaves closer in and not the ones out on the tips of the branches. So it's just trying to keep a hold of what it can take care of and should be fine.
Yeah, I have that happening on birch and a little bit on a red maple that had so many leaves. And there might be others, but those two I noticed.
I have serviceberry that did that. I love that tree. Absolutely love it. But yeah, I have yellowing
But
leaves and
it's
falling.
trying to survive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And then when rain comes, it'll be fine. But yeah, that was going to be my same
Yeah.
exact thought.
Yeah.
Okay, well, good question. So it's not fatal, it's just survival for that birch. All right, let's go to Janet's question on line 4, and it's about a Rose of Sharon. Hi there, Janet.
Hi.
And what have you got for us?
Pardon?
What have you got for us today?
I had a Rose of Sharon on the front of my house. Last year, it was just full of beautiful blooms. People stopped and commented about how wonderful it was. This year, it's almost all dead. There's one tall strip coming up in the center, and then on one at the bottom of it, one extension has some little growths on it. What do I just cut it, all the dead out, and hope the green that's there continues, or do I get rid of the whole thing?
Okay. Who wants to jump in on that one?
I wouldn't give up.
We had
myself.
some relatively. We had very mild winter and warm weather, and then we got a couple pretty sharp freezes. And it may be that the leaves on those branches just got nailed by the frost after warm weather, and the leaf buds had either the leaves had already emerged, or the buds were too far along to such that they were actually harmed by that freeze. I agree with Mary Ann. You need to wait it out, see what will happen. I never give up on a tree until it's shown that it's dead for at least a year or two. So very likely you've got accessory buds that are developing, and those branches may leaf out. I would give it time, and by time I would say probably at least another month or two to see if it's going to leaf out.
And maybe even scratch some of the twigs that are not showing leaves right now to see if there's green under them. Would you even bother, or just keep on?
Some people that works for me,
Just let it go?
I can't tell that.
If you
by
think
that,
if it was
so.
a healthy Rose of Sharon, it would go ahead and re-leaf out. But it's going to do it in the next month or so if it hasn't done it by then.
It's just the juxtaposition of it being so good the year before, and then it was a rough winter for plants. They didn't get snow cover, and it's.
Of course, there's always the thing that plants that are under stress many times flower and fruit heavily as their last gasp before they die.
That's true too.
But I would think with a Rose of Sharon, it's much more likely to be a case of getting a late freeze on it after a warm temperature, and it just needs to reload those buds and shoot them out again.
So wait, maybe not a year or two, but wait. I like your patience. That's really good. All right. Well, thank you for that question. And let's go to Dorothy's question on line 5, and it's about Sweet William. Hi, Dorothy.
I have Sweet Williams that I've had in a flower bed for about 25 years, and this year it looks like it has a white powdery mildew, and the leaves are turning brown down near the bottom. Is there anything I can do to help? And do you think they'll be okay next year?
Well, I can say about next year. I can't say, I've not seen powdery mildew on Sweet William, but I'm sure, but I'll answer about next year. If the Sweet William can go ahead and form seeds without dying, that's how you're going to get your Sweet William the next year, because it's a biennial that self-sows. Now, who wants to address the white powdery mildew? It's a shiny leaf. I've really not seen it.
Pretty unusual to have it. And don't you think it's like you're saying, Dyke, there's been so much moisture and just just so much going on with especially that brownwood and
it could be, how they self-sow really tight, and there's a lot of them. You don't know where the seeds are going to fall. Maybe it's a combination, but I really have not seen that. But it's not going to kill. If it can get to the seed part, the flowering part is going to die out. That's the plant that dies, and then the seed starts new plants, and then you start the cycle of being a biennial. Leaves the first year, flowering and seeding and dying the second year. So if it can get to seeds, you're okay. And to have it 25 years, oh, I hope it gets to the
I'm
seed.
so impressed.
I think I've only had mine maybe 12 or 15, and
Only.
I mulch too much, so I don't get any seeding because I don't want the weed seed. So that's not a plant I have any.
Don't get them.
yeah, I have to be careful where they are, and I let some bare ground and try not to have too many plants. That's what I usually do, is have too many plants in one spot, or mulch. Well, we hope the best for the Sweet William. That's a great plant. Well, let's do one more question, and then we'll go to some emails. But let's go to Chris's question on line 6 about peonies. Hi, Chris.
Hi. I have several.
I think we just lost. Oh, that's a shame. Well, we do want to do one more question, so let's go to line 2, and we hope that Chris calls back. And Joe has a question on line 2 about bees. Okay, Joe.
Yes, we have a lot of white clover in our yard, and the other day when I was mowing, I didn't see any little bees around. Generally, there's honeybees or there's little bumblebees, and I'm wondering if anybody has noticed that this year. And I think the absence of the bees affected our strawberries. So I'm just wondering.
Okay.
Well, for you to have bees, you've got to have, for honeybees, you need to have hives nearby, and that normally means a beekeeper within a couple, 3 miles. I live out in the country, and it's 5 miles to the nearest town, and so it's an unusual thing when we see much in the way of honeybees in our yard, because they kind of have to pack a lunch to get there. But I haven't noticed any reduction in other types of wild bees that are currently around, but certainly there can be areas in which you can have a local loss of bees, but I don't know of anything that's widespread that would be associated with that. Sometimes you can have a shallow area where frost will tend to hang at the wrong time of a winter or in the spring. Many times things like bees are going to be reduced more by wet weather and getting fungus diseases and so on in the spring, which we certainly had some of that in the Midwest this year. But they should bounce back. I think probably your lack of bees is a local thing, and yeah, that can have an effect on strawberries. Although strawberries bloom so early that not only bees but a lot of flies are probably going to be pollinating those. Flies, beetles, butterflies, moths. All of these are pollinators in addition to bees. Bees get all the headlines, but they're just a part of what's out there. So So I would think that probably you're looking at something that's just localized, and usually when you have a problem with strawberries, it's more of a weather situation than it is lack of pollinator.
Okay, that's very interesting. Thank you. Okay. Now, Dyke, let's go with your email question.
Okay, I've got an email question here. It says coworkers sent a plant to them, and it's a Norfolk pine. And basically, the question's going on to ask, does it need to stay inside or outside? And that basically, Norfolk Island pine is a tropical plant that just kind of looks like a pine and is no more related than that. So this is a tropical house plant. I suppose if you want to take it out as you take some of your house plants back and forth, but basically this is a medium to bright light house plant. You treat it just like you would any other house plants. The biggest key, a lot of times these are given as those gift Christmas trees that you see them in the winter, but they don't like to dry out. So not anywhere you've got a heat vent blowing on them, or if you're one of those that likes to have house plants and you forget and let them wilt in between watering, Norfolk Island pine, all the lower limbs will fall off and you get some needle drop and you get this really scarecrow looking thing, and it's hard to kind of rejuvenate. But otherwise it's a great house plant, but it's a house plant. It does not like cold weather. Norfolk Island pine, it's a good plant, very neat to look at. And if you could do really good with them, and the bigger the container, the bigger they get. So.
Okay, very good.
I love that. I have a very tall one and I forget to water it.
Yeah.
It's torture.
Oops.
But I had somebody bring one into the greenhouse at school, and what's wrong with it? Well, the first branch was 8 feet off the ground. They had just lost all the lower, and there's no way to really, in the greenhouse where you got higher moisture and conditions, we did cut it back to the pot because we thought we weren't out anything, and it did send up new shoot.
Wow.
But I would never try that in my living room, but in the
That's
greenhouse
so
with the high
brave.
humidity, and we just kept hosing the plant down and hosing all the leaves, and it did send up a new shoot.
Oh,
but
wow.
that's a little
That's
different
neat.
humidity. Yeah.
So a don't try this at home
Yeah,
story. Okay. Okay, very good. Now, Mary Ann, wow.
Well, I have another show and tell. And this evening, I have purchased, or not purchased, I actually didn't steal these from the neighbors, but I did go to the nursery and cut a bunch of hydrangeas because they're so beautiful. Is that just not gorgeous? Look at the variation in color and texture.
Wow.
Absolutely incredible. Most of these are the same species, the macrophyllus, and you can see the variation just in the macrophyllus. Those are all macrophyllus. Look at all that going on. Isn't that beautiful? Absolutely incredible. So many in the market now is just incredible. And of course, the snowball hydrangea. I love this. Annabelle, and it has a charming naming, and I love the idea of that too. So it's just an old-fashioned arborescence, just improved. And of course, the oak leaf hydrangeas. I think these are just lovely and a much different form of flower. I love this long cluster of flowers, just fabulous. And the leaves on them actually do look somewhat like an oak leaf. So they're mostly very large plants, hydrangeas all the way across the board, but the trend right now is to hybridize or select for a smaller size so they can fit into any garden. And I have a macrophylla that's only about 4 feet tall, which is fabulous. It's called ruby slippers, and in fact, that's what this is, this particular oak leaf. And it's obviously blooming white, so why do we name it ruby slippers? Because as it ages, this turns to a beautiful rose color, just beautiful. And then in the fall, that's a little bit persistent, the flower is. In the fall, the foliage is just gorgeous burgundy, just some of the prettiest I've ever seen. So there's a large span of time that hydrangeas can give you color in the garden.
Bring those back when it turns red with the flower and then with the leaf. You'll have to, when you're on, bring those
I
back.
will try to do that if I can actually force myself to cut them in my garden.
Oh, yeah. I was just thinking that was so nice of you to trim it
Well,
from
somebody
your garden.
else's. So no, I didn't go through the neighborhood looking for these with my pruners.
Okay,
my
that's-
neighbors see me coming with my pruners.
Watch
and
out.
they don't let me in.
Well, thank you. And now, Phil.
Linda Lee Stuckey sent in an email asking, how do I know if I have grubs in my yard? Well, you know if you have grubs in your yard because the grass turns brownish and you can pull it up easily and the grubs are right there in the root zone. But she says, I have a lot of spots where nothing is growing now, but it had grass in the fall. Grubs are going to take out the grass in the fall or in the late summer. Says the ground looks dimpled, which I think is probably like this. This is one of my photos, not hers. And what can I use to not hurt the bees and butterflies? Well, I think what she's got is that her grass died in certain areas during the winter sometime. It could have been snow mold, which you don't have to have snow to have snow mold. You just have a lot of moisture and moist situation for that to occur, or some other sort of disease or maintenance problem that caused the grass to die. And then the earthworms will come out and clean up the mess, so to speak. They'll come out and gather the dead grass, take it back underground and feed on it. And they will leave the soil pretty dimpled and so on like that from their exits. And so earthworms, night crawlers, whatever you want to call them, there are various species that will do this. And I think that's probably what it is. And really you just probably need to look at your situation, see if it's the right area that can grow grass in the long term. And if it is, just replant and start over.
Okay.
And if it isn't, then maybe look at ground covers or mulch or something else that will do what you want it to do.
Okay, very good. Well, we're going to go back to Chris's call, and this time on line 2 about peonies. Hi there, Chris. Line 2. Oh, line 5. I wrote the wrong number. Line 5. Chris, what's your question?
I'm line 2. I'm Chris. Am I on?
Okay, hey. If you're Chris, you get to tell us what your question is.
Okay, I have peonies. I have about 12 different bushes, old-fashioned and some hybrids. And I was wondering if I can start a new peony bush by the seeds that are in the pods of the flowers.
Well, Marianne is here, and she will answer that question.
I would be glad to. I spent my first 20 years in horticulture, I spent on a peony farm. And I got to tell you, you can do that, and you can do it easily. Just let the seeds mature, wait until maybe even August or September, and cut the seed pods off. Some people like to start them indoors. When you're hybridizing, they want to make sure that it actually comes up. But I like to just cut them off and stick them in the ground underneath or around where that peony bush was. And I've had, even with tree peonies, I've had pretty good luck with them sprouting. And I'd push them down maybe an inch into the soil, and just maybe mulch up over it. And actually, it works.
Am I right? Wasn't the peony farm 100 acres?
It was 100 acres.
Originally?
It was the smallest it ever was 100 acres. It was up to 200.
Wow. It was beautiful.
A lot of flowers.
It was really pretty. It was, because it's not there now, but it was really beautiful. So try all of these things. Well, thank you folks for being here. Thank you folks for watching. I hope you have a great week being kind to others and having a good week gardening. Bye-bye.